My name is Joe. Standing in the restored living room of my grandmother's old house, the air filled with the scent of cinnamon and aged wood, I'm reminded of that fateful Christmas dinner. It was the moment I finally made my family see me for who I truly was, not the disappointment they'd always assumed. The Christmas dinner at my parents' place the year before was unusually charged. The table was set as opulent as ever, with my mother, Helen, showcasing her finest silverware and crystal glasses as if we were royalty. I sat across from my sister, Lily, who was already tipsy, wearing that smug grin like she held the universe's secrets. My mother, a woman known for her sharp tongue and overbearing personality, stood at the head of the table. She tapped her fork against the glass, a gesture that usually preceded some grand pronouncement. "I have news," she said, her voice laced with a self-satisfied tone. "We've sold your grandmother, Rose's, house." My heart dropped like a stone. I'd spent many summers with Grandma Rose, learning the art of gardening and cooking. She'd taught me resilience and the value of money during tough times when my parents, Helen and Tom, were going through a bitter separation. That house was more than a building, it was my haven. Then, my mother turned to me with a sneer. "You were never in the will, Joe. No need to act all upset." Lily broke into a laugh. "Good riddance. It was an old dump anyway, and Joe's always been bad with money." I felt that familiar sting, the one that had haunted me my whole life. I was the black sheep, the screw up in their eyes. But this time, I'd prepared. I picked up my wine glass, took a slow sip, and let the silence stretch. "Cool. I hope you enjoy the money," I said calmly, a small smile playing on my lips. "Because I'm the one who bought it." The room went deathly quiet. My mother's fork froze mid-air, and Lily's laughter died in her throat, replaced by a look of sheer disbelief. My father, usually a silent observer, put down his napkin and stared at me as if seeing a stranger. 6 months before that Christmas, I'd formed an anonymous LLC. With the help of a discreet real estate attorney, I'd placed a bid on the house the moment it hit the market. For 2 years, I'd been steadily building a financial consulting business from my small apartment. It was a labor of love, fueled by Grandma Rose's teachings of perseverance. I'd saved every extra dollar, taken on challenging clients, and made countless sacrifices while my family thought I was just drifting through life. I couldn't bear the thought of strangers demolishing the house where I'd found so much comfort and learned so much. My mother's face went through a range of emotions, disbelief, embarrassment, and a hint of fear. "That's impossible. It was a private sale," she stammered. "There's no way." I cut her off calmly. "There's every way. I've had the keys for 3 weeks." Lily slammed her glass down so hard I thought it would shatter. My father just cleared his throat, unable to find words. In the days that followed, the silence was heavy. My phone buzzed non-stop with messages from relatives, each version of the story more exaggerated than the last. My mother texted me a couple of times but deleted them before I could reply, a clear sign of how shaken she was. 3 days after Christmas, Lily showed up at my apartment, still wearing the expensive designer coat from the dinner. "You humiliated Mom," she said as soon as I opened the door. "Do you know what people are saying?" I stepped aside and let her in. She paced my living room, heels clicking on the floor. I saw a flicker of fear on her face instead of just anger. "Why would you even want that old house?" "It's falling apart," she asked, finally sitting down. I thought of Grandma Rose standing in the kitchen, flour on her hands as she taught me to bake. "That's exactly why I bought it." "None of you understood what it meant," I told her. "It was a part of our history, and you all were ready to throw it away like it was nothing." 2 weeks later, my mother called. Her voice was cold and formal, like she was talking to a business associate. She wanted to know if I'd sell the house back and if this was some elaborate scheme to prove a point. I told her the truth. I'd bought the house to preserve our family's legacy, not to punish anyone. For years, I'd watched them treat Grandma Rose's love and teachings as a nuisance. But the most unexpected thing happened on a dreary Saturday afternoon. I was repainting the front porch railing, the same one Grandma Rose used to sit on with a glass of lemonade. My father, Tom, showed up unannounced. He stood at the edge of the yard for a long time before he spoke. "I should have fought for you more," he said, his voice rough. "Your grandmother would be proud of what you've done." It wasn't a full apology, but it was the closest I'd gotten in years. And for the first time since that Christmas dinner, I felt a weight lift off my chest. Word quickly spread through the family. The narrative changed. Instead of being the rebellious daughter who caused a scene, I became the granddaughter who fought to save a precious part of our family heritage. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in ages reached out, and aunts who used to gossip about my career suddenly wanted to know how I'd built a successful business. I didn't need their approval, but it felt good to be recognized for who I truly was. That spring, I spent countless hours restoring the house, room by room. I kept the creaky stairs, the hand-painted tiles in the kitchen, and the rose bushes Grandma Rose had planted when I was born. I did it not to prove anything to my mother or sister, but because some things are worth fighting for silently, even when the world underestimates you. By summer, the house smelled just like Grandma Rose again. It was a smell of warmth, love, and a heritage that would now be preserved for generations. If you believe, like I do, that some legacies are worth every sacrifice, then stay tuned, because stories like mine are just beginning.